right, welcome to the very first episode of Good Gossip. It's a brand new podcast that Melissa Elizondo and Todd Reavis, that's me, are debuting. And we just wanted to do a slight introduction to us and to the theme of the podcast so that you'd get a sense for why we're doing what we're doing. And so, like I said, my name's Todd Reavis. This is Melissa Elizondo. And we are really good friends who met several years ago, and we really like doing things that make the world a little better in our time here. And so one of the ways we can do that is through good gossip. Everyone knows about gossip.
Yeah, bad gossip. I think we've had experiences ourselves. I'm sure a lot of people have where negativity has something has been said about you or to you, and then you may say something to somebody else and it spread and keep going like wildfire in a very negative way. Or somebody, you've been hurt by it. And I know that we have experienced that before too. So we decided people shouldn't do that.
Yeah.
There's a reason.
I think it feels horrible to be gossiped about. Mm-hmm. And gossip by definition is, an assassination of someone's character because they're not there to defend themselves. And when you're on the other end of that, it's really horrible. There's nothing worse than saying something that isn't your place to say, even if you're not trying to be mean, but you're just saying something that's not your place to say because that person's not there. And then it gets back to that person.
Oh, awkward.
Ooh, that's
awkward. I've had
it's
that
so
happen.
awkward because then you're apologizing. Then you're like, oh, I'm a big loser because I have to tell this person. Like, why? If somebody is honest with you, why? Why did you feel I don't know. It was ego. It was all about me, right? Mm-hmm. And that's anything that's all about me is probably wrong. Probably shouldn't be doing it. So the opposite of bad gossip is good gossip. And that's what this is all about. And one way to do good gossip is if you hear something really cool about someone, then you can brag on them. So really it's bragging, right? Yeah. And I have a personal experience. Scott and my boss and I were talking, and he was bragging about one of the other team leaders, and I just thought it was so cool. The things he was saying, I needed her to know that. It wasn't really my place, but that's what makes it kind of gossipy. Yeah. So I went into her office and I said, hey, did you know that I was just talking to Scott and he was just talking about you? You want to know what he said? And she was like, what? And I said, yeah. He said, you're never allowed to quit here. You have to work here forever. You're so valuable to him. And it was just like, her face just changed. And I delivered this bomb of positive feeling for her. Yeah. I know I did, and then she left there going, wow, I feel good about my job. I feel good about myself. And that was fun. And
it's more powerful when somebody's talking good about you behind your back. Man. I mean, it just builds you up, right?
It's like it's more real.
Yeah.
Like if somebody's talking about you good behind your back, why would they do that? There's no self-interest in that. So they mean it.
Yeah.
I need to quit doing this. I know that's coming out. I'm going to try to stop slapping my leg.
In the future episodes.
Yeah, in future episodes. This is our first episode, so we're learning all kinds of things about lighting and sound and microphones and headphones and trucks driving by and all kinds of stuff. But I think it's going to be fine. So let's talk a little bit about why we know each other.
Okay. So we used to be in real estate together years ago, and we knew each other barely then. Yeah. And then I ended up getting into a title company, and you were everywhere. I kept seeing you everywhere, and I thought, that's a good guy. I need to go get to know him. And so I'm all about networking. I'm very much about connecting people. And so you were in a networking group, actually.
Yeah. The new group,
right? And my whole job was to only promote to realtors, and you were the only realtor in there. So going to that networking group actually did mean absolutely no good because you were the only one I could get referrals from. But I thought I went into that group going, I can give referrals to this group though. So I can listen and kind of hear what people need. And I know people in the world.
Oh my gosh.
So I made it my mission to be in your life.
Well, not just mine.
But I liked how you did the same thing. So
I always say networking is like breathing for me. And I know it is for you too. It's connecting. Mm-hmm. And so you found yourself, you weren't really benefiting financially from networking so much as your soul was benefiting from putting John with Jim and Scott with him, and it's so fun to do. And yes, I know that there's something you got out of it. I know you got, who knows? Look at now, you're self-employed, you own a marketing company, and you're probably working with a lot of those people.
Yep.
But at the time, it didn't seem like something was really helping your title business development rep career. But there are still people you know from that group.
Oh, dope. Yeah, great friends of mine, and I still refer them. What I loved about them, though, and this is one of the things I love about networking, is the one-to-ones. And so what happens is after you do your little meeting, you meet them separately for coffee, or you meet up with them. It's my favorite part. And I would just sit there for 45 minutes and ask them questions about them. You know, tell me your story. How'd you get here? And so many people had wonderful stories of struggle and overcome, or they just had a joyful light about them, or they were encouraging, or they said the right thing. And I would take that story and I would go call somebody else and say, man, I just met this person today. You have got to meet them. They, give them the whole story.
There are so many people you've introduced me to that I'm still really, really good friends with. And Matt's one of them.
Oh, Matt. I love that story. Do you know how we met, Matt and I?
No.
Okay, so this is funny.
Okay.
He'll appreciate this. Matt
Did
actually...
we say his last name?
Yeah, Matt Hemberger. Shout out to you. Matt actually traveled in the missionary group that we were part of that went to Haiti.
Haiti, right.
Yeah, and so I knew his name, but I didn't actually know who he was at all. And I had an agent who worked for me a long time ago who had moved to Colorado. And so one day she hit us both up on Facebook and said, y'all are two of my favorite people. Y'all need to meet. She's not even here. And so I thought, this is what I thought. I'll give this guy 30 minutes of my time. I don't know why I thought that. Anyway, so I went to have coffee with him. I ended up canceling the rest of the day. So I'm texting, like, I can't meet now. I spent 3-4 hours with Matt just talking, hearing his life, hearing his heart. And I immediately fell in love with his soul. And I just was like, Todd, come over here. And so I introduced, you were the next person I introduced him to.
So many connections. And I did the same thing. We met at the coffee shop, and it was like supposed to be an hour, like a one-on-one. Let's grab a cup of coffee, just see what we think of each other, just what's your story. And it like went from 0 to 60. That's who he is.
Yeah.
And I guess that's who I am too. It's like, here, I'm Todd. Here's everything. I'm not holding it. Yeah, but I did that on my first date with Nancy. It was like an 8-hour date, and I told her everything that was wrong with me.
And she stuck around.
She did not run. I was like, what's wrong with her? And now we've been married almost 13 years and have 5 grandkids. So yeah. So now Matt and I, we just talked for a couple hours and got into deep stuff. Got into family and parents and kids and God and relationships, and it was just really neat. And we're still friends to this day.
I think it's a level of vulnerability too,
I guess if you match there, if you meet there with someone, there are going to be people that are going to hold back. That's not my people. I guess my people are like, tell me.
Exactly. Everybody I'm really close to in my life are people that I've gone deep with, and I've heard their struggles and their stories, and they've heard mine.
So would you say, this is a dumb rhetorical question, but would you say everybody has troubles?
Everybody has troubles.
My new thing is everybody's broken.
Everybody's broken.
I'm broken, you're broken. Let's not pretend we're not broken. And then we can start from that place and go, okay, I'm not going to get as mad at you if you do that, or I'm not going to be that disappointed because I've lowered my expectations for everybody because everybody's broken. And if you're on a team at work and everybody is there, if you're married and you're both there, then you can overcome a lot because you're not holding them to some standard that they don't have a past. I mean, especially the older you get.
Yeah, nobody's perfect. That I can say for sure.
And so it makes it even more amazing when people triumph and overcome and then start doing things to spread that joy and that good stuff in the world, because there's so much bad stuff. Yeah. So we got to counter it.
Yeah, and the other thing I love too, so many times we've met with people and they've told us their story and there was one little thing, like just one little nugget I'll pull out of it, and I'm like, I'm going to hold on to that. I'm going to hold on to that, and I'm going to use that to give that to somebody else. So here's a word of encouragement for you. I met this woman the other day. And
that happened to me yesterday. It happened to me like Wednesday. I was talking to one of our agents, I won't say who, and we were talking about their brokenness. And it was a cool, that's just how I go around talking to people about their brokenness. That's what I do. But But she was talking about a long time ago in a different life when she was in some sort of behavioral recovery, and she used the term ANT, and that was automatic negative thinking.
Wow.
We've talked about that
Yeah.
a lot.
Yeah.
Like, how can I get that thing in my head to stop telling me I suck all the time?
Yeah.
Sometimes I wake up and just go, oh, instead of wake up like, yeah. And so you have to retrain your brain to get rid of the ants.
Yeah.
That's what I took from that conversation.
And that's what this podcast is for. It's one of those tools. So, you know, we'll have different guests that have different life experiences just like that we can hopefully put out there into the world for somebody to hopefully
pull that one nugget.
Yeah,
out.
And
so it doesn't matter what they do. It doesn't matter what their job is. It doesn't matter what their gender, their anything, because they've come through something and they're better because of it. And if they're super successful, even better, because they've shown that they can rise up and really pick themselves up day after day after day and become successful and get promoted and get accepted. And or it could be someone who's a college student going through something. You know?
Everybody has an experience, even if it's just for a little bit of time or if it took a long time. That's what we're hoping to get on the show. We have a list of guests that we are excited to bring on for future episodes. A lot of them, we know their story already. Some of them we've heard things about in a good way.
Gossip.
The good gossip about them. And so we're hoping to get those stories, in detail for our listeners.
Yeah, so positive is what we're about, and growing, and we're going to learn every time, which is what we always do when we're together. So we'll wrap it up here. I want to point out that we have a dice here, and it has no purpose.
Okay, I just want to make sure I didn't know what it was for.
Maybe we're rolling the dice.
Oh, that is true.
Whether this podcast is going to stink or not,
Yeah.
or maybe we want people to think it's a gambling podcast.
Yeah. No, we don't.
We don't.
We're only gambling on having great speakers on this show.
That's right. I just thought it was a cool prop.
Yeah, a lot of shows have props, and hopefully we'll get some more.
We'll start adding props every week.
Yeah.
And that doesn't belong to me. It belongs to the studio.
Yeah.
And so I have to leave it here, and I don't know if it'll be here next time.
Yeah, we'll find something else to put up in here.
We could probably find toys and like cool stuff to put, like Buzz Lightyear.
Or whatever. Or whatever.
Mr. Potato Head. Oh, wait. Never mind.
Don't tell that story.
Well, that was episode 11001 of Good Gossip. I'm Todd Reavis.
I'm Melissa Elizondo.
And thank you to producer Austin, too, who you can't see, but he made all this happen.
Yeah.
Thanks, Austin.
All right, see you on the next episode. And don't forget to subscribe.
Yay.